had a relapse. See you in a minute. Hey everybody, I was going to do a video on dissociative identity disorder and self-harm. This is not that video. This video is pretty much an update, but it will discuss those same topics. As everybody knows, we've been having quite the week or so in the DID community, and it's been causing a lot of harm and pain, unnecessary stuff for people. And so I have been working very hard not to do negative things, not using negative coping strategies, because that's all like self-harm is. It's a negative coping strategy. But I failed, and I failed spectacularly, guys. Failed spectacularly. I failed in front of a live studio audience, let's just put it that way. And not really, it was a Zoom call. It was a Zoom call with a couple of friends. Beautiful, wonderful people with the patience of angels. Okay. So I was on a Zoom call, and I went into, not yesterday, but the day before, I was on a Zoom call and I went into a fugue. I personally did not know I had fugues. I suspected I did because I have DID, but I've never consciously known myself to have a fugue. Although, you know, if I look back on my life, a lot of things that I attributed to maybe drinking or being tired and stuff were fugues. But I just wanted to say that it's, this is one of the darker aspects of DID. This is one of the reasons you do not want this disorder. It is not a disorder of makeup and dress up. It's a disorder of severe trauma and trying to cope daily. Like, minute to minute is where I'm at right now in my coping skills. So my coping is not fantastic right now, guys. And I might be switchy. Like, I don't know. I feel Flair is here, and I don't know, maybe I'm here. I just don't even know, okay? There's probably a little, I don't. But, you know, I want to keep making good content for people. I want to keep making content for people like me. And I think by making this video, I am. I have self-harmed since I was 15 years old, 14 or 15. And the first time I learned about self-harm was from a hospital. I was not a self-harmer before I went to my first hospital. My first hospital was Charter Hospital. And it was like this famous hospital that people used to make fun of the commercial because they'd list about a billion things. If you have this, you should come to Charter. Like, it was a really funny kind of iconic mental health commercial. One of the first of its kind. My cats are being crazy, guys. And when I was there, I met a girl. And she was about 1 year older than me. I'm not going to say her name. And I saw her arm. I'd never seen anything like that. From wrist to armpit. I was just like, my first thought was not probably the thought of an average person. The thought of an average person would probably be like, my God, that is horrible. Why would you do that to yourself? Why would you do that to yourself? My first thought was this as a 15-year-old. I can do that? That's a thing that I can do? Okay. And I did. In that hospital stay, I had my first bout of self-harm. It was extremely minor. It was with like a plastic spork that I broke. A couple of scratches, nothing, no big deal. Although self-harm is always a big deal, whether it's, regardless of how bad the harm is, it's an indicator. If in nothing else, it's indicating to you that you are under a level of stress that you can't cope with. When you have to resort to harm, it is obviously an indicator of a lack of coping skills. And I'm just sort of making this video like off the cuff because I don't think I could focus on making a video that requires any thought right now. Because I am very switchy. I don't know who I am right now, and I'm probably dissociated this whole time. So when we watch the video back, Brandy, whatever she comes back, I mean, she's been gone a lot, guys. Like, she's been gone a lot. She probably won't even know what's in this video. But you know, we're trying to build an audience of loving support and a community of people who understand trauma, who understand that traumatized people have behaviors that average people do not, and that doesn't mean they're bad. It does not mean they're bad. It doesn't even mean they're seeking attention sometimes. That's one thing I want to dispel here. The myth that self-harm is always attention seeking. I was accused of that my whole life. But I also didn't know I had DID. I was diagnosed with borderline and other things. So as soon as you're diagnosed with borderline, they're like, attention, attention, attention. They just want attention, they just want attention. It's about nothing else. They have no feelings, they have no like, it's just like, they just want, gimme, 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 gimme. I want attention and I want to hurt people. Is like, that is the message I always got from mental health about borderlines. They'd say, oh, this person's borderline, throw them away. You can't help them, you can't treat them. And anyway, I don't know. So, you can treat people with borderline and you can treat people with DID. I don't have treatment right now. I'm fortunate enough to have a psychologist that I've known for over 20 years who is not my doctor, but he's willing to email back and forth with my alters so they can get some of the very disturbing thoughts that they think and want to do out of the system. And sometimes you just have to release. You have to just say it to remove the sting, to remove the poison from the wound, okay? And there's never a place to say those things. They're like, oh, call a suicide hotline. Yes, I could call the National Suicide Hotline. What would happen? They would actively listen to me, reflect everything I'm saying back at me as a question, and then if I dared say anything about my suicidal ideation, they would call an ambulance. They would call the cops on me. Now, that does not feel like a safe place for me to say the things I'm thinking, or for my alters to say the things they're thinking, because they think those things all the time. Not always, but usually when we're around our trauma season, which is now, it's constant. It's constant. And so I have to be really vigilant with my alters. I have to be really vigilant. I have to make sure that I'm aware enough that I don't do things like I did on Zoom the day before yesterday. It's hard to forgive yourself for something like that. And that's why I haven't had many friends in my life. I've had lots of friends. I have friends. But I mean, the reason I had friends is because I took the role of caretaker. I'm like, yes, we're friends. I love you. And I did love them. And I do love them. But many of my friendships, it's a one-way street. Like, I give, because I'm too afraid to take. Because if I take, my alters might want more. And what if that person can't give what my alters need? And the hurt is immense. Like, I legit thought I was over rejection sensitivity. I really did. I thought I was over rejection sensitivity. But that wasn't what was going on. I was on a medication that covered all my symptoms, most of them. And that medication made me think I was okay. And then when I had to go off of it, it turns out it was covering up a whole world of alters and inner worlds, traumas, and it's not like I didn't know I had trauma. Of course I knew I had trauma. But you know, your brain doesn't want you to know the level of trauma you've had. It's too much for one person, definitely too much for a child, but it is too much for one person at any age. So if you have DID and you find yourself behaving in ways that you would never, ever want to behave or ever put anybody through, I see you. I see you, and I still love you. I'm talking to myself as much as I'm talking to everybody else. I am not going to fault people with DID for their actions, not their initial actions. I will fault them for what they do or don't do to rectify, to make up for those actions. So to the person, the people, the two people who witnessed that horror, I can't recall it, but I am so sorry. And I love you. And if the situation was reversed, I would still love you. And I would be there. And I will be there when that situation is reversed, if that situation is ever reversed. And I hope it never is. I don't want anybody ever to harm themselves. But stop treating people with DID like they're trying to seek attention. Self-harm, for me, comes from a need to stop flashbacks. It comes from a need. I have a lot of somatic sensations in my body, especially in the evenings. Constant. I don't talk about it a lot with people. They wouldn't understand because they don't have those flashbacks, but I have them for hours on end in the evenings. And so sometimes some controlled harm focuses it so I don't have to feel it everywhere. I can just feel it in one place, and I know the place because I did it. I put it there, and yes, it is about control. It is about control. And I know they already know it's about control. But it's sort of like I can suffer all these pains that these horrible monsters did to me as a child. I can relive them every night. I can feel them every night. Or I can just take it into my own hands and focus it. And control it. But that's not healthy. And that is not what we're supposed to be doing. I understand the desire, but it's not okay. It is never okay to hurt yourself. Never. It is never, I don't know. Like sometimes I want to say it is never necessary, but I can't say that because I've had moments in my life where it was a choice between death and harm. And harm was literally the harm reduction choice. So, I don't know. I don't know. That's why I make these videos. I am trying to figure things out as much as everybody else is. I do not know everything. And I certainly haven't studied it enough to know as much as I should, right now at this point. But just know that this is it. This is what it looks like. This is what it looks like to have a bad episode when you're in the middle of it, when you have DID. It's not pretty. It's not cute. It's not fun dress up, makeup time, It's scary. I'm scared. I'm scared. And I want to help people. I don't know what making this video makes me. Am I a bad person? Am I a bad advocate? Am I trying to be an advocate? Should I be an advocate? Is being an advocate bad? I don't know. It's just all these questions in my head. All I know is I want people like me never to feel alone. I want you never to feel alone with your thoughts, your feelings, no matter how bad, gruesome, or horrible, or brutal they are. You're not alone, and good people have those thoughts too. Good people have those thoughts too. And sometimes good people do things that hurt other people on accident. So, I love you all, and thank you. I'm gonna have to go because like my heart is just like all over the place, but I just sort of wanted to give an update, and eventually in the future I will probably do like a more organized, more thoughtful video about, you know, self-harm and DID that helps people actually, not just like some video of me going, you know. So for all the people who watch me, thank you, and I love you, and it helps, and comments help. Anything that can distract helps me. So thank you for your time and love and patience, and I love you all back.